How I will take over the world. For many years now, I have worked diligently to undermine God's most sacred creation. It hasn't really been all that hard for me, as I began my mission at the beginning of your creation. With a simple temptation of one shiny apple, it had become apparent to me that man could easily be persuaded. With a natural propensity for greed and self-indulgence, I would get very little resistance. My plan, however, will require some strategic implementations to ensure that I will have total control. The first phase was easy. I created sin. Next phase will require a small army. About 535 should do. I will need to have them do most of my dirty work, and with the promise of money, power, and control, that will be a cakewalk. It is obvious to me that there will be some resistance, mainly from those of faith, so I will need to dismantle the church. I will also need to corrupt the minds of the innocents to ensure that they have little chance of becoming future threats. I wouldn't need an apple for this one, a shiny little phone will do. After I have formed a corrupt government, I will need to make sure that everyone complies. So I will have my soldiers, your government, create a totalitarian nation. In case my verbiage is confusing those of you already medicated, let me explain. Totalitarian regimes typically violate basic human rights and deny common freedoms in maintaining total control over their citizens. Totalitarianism is considered an extreme form in which government controls almost all aspects of public and private lives of its people. My plan is to put in place a government that will have full control and power over its citizens. In order for my plan to work effectively, my army must first control the narrative. This would be done by controlling the media and social networking platforms. Once that was accomplished, I could start my indoctrination of the youth. Control will come easy for me, as mankind is so easily tempted by substances like pills and alcohol. For those who stray away from that, I will have them so dependent on vaccines that they will believe their lives depended on it. From fluoride in the water to a population addicted to sugar, I am well on my way to achieving my ultimate goal. From there, I need to divide our nation into groups. That part is easy. All I need to do is play off people's emotions and start separating them by class and race. I will remind those who have little just how privileged those who have a lot really are. I will then convince those who have not been able to achieve success that they have been wrongfully held back by capitalists and Marxism. When that gets the ball rolling, I will start fanning the flames by furthering the narrative that our nation is a racist nation, and those who beat the drum of freedom and religion are the true enemy. Once I have people distracted, debating each other, rioting, and burning the flag, I will begin my takeover. In order to achieve all this, I must stay one step ahead of the people. I will regulate and legislate gun laws and gun reform because an armed citizen capable of protecting themselves and their family could become a threat to my socialist utopia. I will then have my army go after the energy sector, making sure I regulate and control their ability to be a free enterprise. I will seize property using eminent domain and setting up private corporations to buy up land for future development. I will end the fossil fuel industry by implementing legislative laws and mandates that will all but ensure that they have no ability to produce. In my final phase, I will control the food, pharmaceuticals, energy, money, property, water, and air. I will control the schools, industry, media, and military. People will need a permit from their own government just to hunt, fish, or build a house. I will have converted the church into a house of mirrors and taken God out of the schools, courthouse, and prayer. I will make sure that America no longer has a culture of its own, and I will flood its land with illegal immigrants from all nations. I will make sure that patriotism is something to be embarrassed about, and that freedom is a consequence of complying with government. How will I take over the other nations, you ask? Well, that plan was set in motion the day we dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima in 1945. In just a few days, a few years your time, my mission will be complete. I will have defeated my only foe and taken over the world.